Okay, this is Bob Schultheis with the University of Missouri Extension in Webster County, and today we're talking about pressure gauge testing for your food canner. There are a lot of people that are interested in growing their own gardens and getting the food off of there and preserving that food for use later in the year. And to do that, it's really important to put it up properly, and pressure canning is pretty much required for most fruits and vegetables anymore. But what we recommend is people bring their lid with the gauge. It takes a dial. We can test for the dial gauges. We don't charge anything for this test. And what we will do is compare your gauge to our master gauge. And what we do is test this up to 6 pounds of pressure and see what this gauge is running at. In this particular one, 6 pounds on our master gauge comes out to 5.5 pounds on this canner gauge. If you're doing green beans, you now will pump this up to 11 pounds, and you'll notice that on this gauge 11 is 11 pounds on this one, so they both register 11. We also test it out for people that are canning meats. We will test out to 16 pounds, and 16 pounds comes to 16.5 pounds on this gauge. And if you have any old recipe books that list 5, 10, or 15 pounds of pressure in the recipe, do not use those anymore. What you want to use is 6, 11, and 16 pounds. Those are the newer USDA guidelines. If you have a weighted gauge on your canner instead of a dial gauge like this, what you would do instead, the weighted gauges do not need to be tested. They don't go out of calibration. But since we're above 1,000 feet here in Webster County, what you need to do is, if you're doing green beans, for example, which your recipe might call for 11 pounds of pressure, you will need to run your weighted gauge to 15 pounds in order to assure that you get enough pressure to adequately process the food and eliminate any kind of food poisoning organisms. What we're trying to do is prevent botulism poisoning and make sure that that food keeps well for when you want to use it later in the year.